Yeah, perhaps I should explain to some of my viewers the grand vision of Rand Paul, which is also that of his father's, by the way, his father, Ron Paul. Many of us have been duped into believing because his father is against the imperial wars, which is presumably a very good stance to take, and I agree with that view. But here is the real articulation of that kind of philosophy which these people are actually supporting. Namely, under the guise of free markets and privatization, which, by the way, also includes the privatization of our military and the privatization of everything, basically. You know, the libertarian philosophy of which Ron Paul and his son are so fond of will essentially deny that there is any society or cohesion at all, because rich people evidently are the backbone of our entire society, because presumably they create jobs and they don't outsource, you see. They're creating jobs for the American people so that their living standards can be raised. Well, you know what? The reality looks a little bit different than that. So let me read you a recent article. Following his big win on Tuesday in the midterm elections, Senator Rand Paul explained his economic philosophy in about 30 seconds during a CNN interview, claiming he wants to shield the wealthiest Americans from paying higher taxes in the name of protecting the working class. I should say that Democrats must be in favor of a second American Depression, because if you raise taxes to that consequence, then this will precisely what will happen to this country, he said to Wolf Blitzer, another media shill. What if they just raise taxes on the richest, those making maybe a little more than $250,000 a year? Blitzer asked. Wrong question to begin with, actually. Well, the thing is, we're all interconnected, Rand Paul said. There are no rich. Remember, there are no rich. There is no middle class. And there is no poor, Paul explained. You remember a few years ago when they tried to raise the tax on yachts, and that didn't work. So Rand Paul is a person who actually believes that there are no class distinctions in American society. What a surprise. So there are no rich and there are no poor. And consequently, there's also no middle class. Quite a statement. You know who lost their jobs, he continued? The people making boats, the guys making $50,000 to $60,000 a year lost their jobs. We all either work for rich people or we sell stuff to rich people. So just punishing rich people doesn't make any sense, because it's bad for the economy, because it is punishing everyone. Let's not punish everyone. Let's keep taxes low, and let's cut all the spending. those spending cuts in Rand Paul's vision evidently don't include the military-industrial complex. You see, as long as you're manufacturing weapons and are working for a defense contractor or whatever, it's all fine. Basically, what Rand Paul is telling you, the American people, is that you're the ones who should cut back. Your social safety net should be dismantled, while the rich get to live on their yachts, because that legislation didn't work, because the rich were too pissed off about it, living in their gated communities. And Paul argued, on top of it, that any criticism of BP and their massive environmental damage in the Gulf was un-American. So, you know, all these people that lost their jobs down there in that region and who are going to be affected for decades because of this environmental disaster caused by deregulation of the industry, I might add. Oh, well, you know, too bad. Too bad for you guys. You should have voted for more deregulation, because then everything's going to be just hoochie-coochie for you. Maybe you can spring up some sort of a tourism industry which is prone to showing environmental disasters, you know, film crews, excitement, sort of like a reality show like 24, in order to make you believe that killing the environment is just as good as torture, you know, as long as everybody supports it. Rand Paul's got a plan to fix the economy. We just need to stop punishing all the sad, pathetic yacht owners. In one short circular statement made on CNN's Wolf Blitzer Wednesday night, the Kentucky senator has summed up the right wing's economic view as succinctly as a one-panel cartoon. In Paul's view, working-class Americans must make in the neighborhood of $50,000 to $60,000 a year. He seems to be completely unaware that 17% of the population in his own home state are living below the poverty level of $22,000, and that's for a family of 4. But Rand Paul and many of his supporters keep saying rich people are the backbone of our economy because they are the only people who buy things and who create jobs. Therefore, we should cut their taxes even more and cut spending on everything else. This is the vision that Rand Paul and his supporters have for America. In other words, Middle-class business owners, those who earn less than 250,000, and that comprises most small businesses, are to be completely ignored. Because hell, you gotta go with the big guys, the big corporations, Walmart, Monsanto, Exxon, Shell, in order to create jobs. Only problem is, all those jobs are being outsourced, in case you haven't noticed.